do, but that's not the one I'm going to tell. I'm Zoe. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and this is about the beginning. I had 3 small children, and I was in Stop and Shop with all of them. That's not a habit I continued for very much longer after that. But one of the things I noticed was that every time I was in Stop and Shop, there was another woman there, and she had 3 children too. If you've ever tried 3 children in one cart, it doesn't work. And she had her jaw set against the task, and she was just going to grin and bear it as the misery of shopping with 3 children continued. And I kept wanting to catch her eye. Every time I went to Stop and Shop, there she was, but I could not get her to smile at me, and I wondered what it would take to bring her a little joy. I had experienced joy. I had experienced it at the hands of Mega Nancy Buttenheim, who was a dance kinetics teacher, and she showed me how to take 50 people in a room and get them kicking off their shoes and wildly gyrating around the room to music that she'd put on and connecting with each other and not feeling embarrassed and feeling their bodies move. And at the end of her class, I thought, oh, I want to be her. But her training course took 9 days, twice, and I had 3 small children. And frankly, I was not on that path. I have a master's degree in engineering. I graduated in the dean's list of the top European business school with a sheaf of 5 offers from international strategic planning consultancies and a very nice letter from Goldman Sachs. I spent 15 years conducting analysis with spreadsheets, doing research, making recommendations and writing reports, and my top skill is you show me the entrepreneur with a business idea and I will tell you the well-evaluated 3 good reasons why it will fail. So clearly, I had to come down a peg or 2 to be ready to start my own business. Here's how it happened. 2005, I was commuting to New York from Connecticut as a management consultant, and every time I got on the train, I started to feel the migraine set in. And if any of you ladies have approached 40 in your lives, you know what starts to happen to your bodies when you haven't been paying attention to them. So there was the migraine. And I cut down my hours and I started to wonder whether some fundamental change was going to be needed. And just right then, yes, my father over in England had a stroke, and over the next 2 or 3 months, he came to the end of his life. I spent every day on the phone with him, and I cried pretty much every other day. By the time I had got through his funeral, which was the hardest thing ever, I was spent, I was cried out, I was stretched out, and all I could see was a flyer on the wall which said, teacher training, dance awakening, 6 Saturdays. I thought, 6 Saturdays I could do. So I enrolled, and Natalie taught me how to facilitate a room full of people and kick off their shoes and stand in a circle and smile at each other and not worry about how they looked and not worry about whether there was a mirror or whether they had their steps exactly right, but just dance for the joy of it. My family was confounded by this change in me because I was this engineering math whiz who was going to have this fantastic career. And here I was saying, I want to teach dance. So as the last session approached, I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? There was only one thing to do. I did not need a spreadsheet. I did not need a plan. In order to get the courage, I just had to make a phone call. So I called up a studio owner and said, I can meet you. And I walked into her studio in the morning and I said, I'm a dance teacher and I'd like to rent your studio. And then I made sure I didn't say anything about my MBA or the engineering, anything. I just waited. Now, by that time, I had got to know that woman in Stop and Shop. Her kids were at school with mine. Her name is Anne. And I said to myself, I will count this venture a success if I can get Anne dancing. And you know, after the flyers went up and the T-shirts were printed with Dance for Joy emblazoned upon them, the very first day, the very first person who walked into that class with her head downcast and her shoulders hunched was Anne. Thank you.